here, on the very rim of known space, justice is a long way away.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian. Joining me, as always, is your co-host, Julie.
Hello from the Great North, where, sadly, Mother Earth has remembered its fall.
I mean, that's good, right?
No, I hate fall, because it's right next to winter.
Oh, no, I like fall because it's jacket weather. I'm a big fan of jacket weather. Give me jacket weather any day. Like, I hate winter. Yes, I hate winter because that's beyond jacket weather. I'd be fine
if it were fall, spring, summer. Fall, spring, summer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Winter is I hate winter. I hate it. I'll take winter over summer, though. I prefer being cold over being hot. So, if I had a choice between the two, I would take summer. I take winter any day. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of winter either. Give me fall and give me spring. Give me like kind of cool. Got to wear a jacket, but that's about, don't have to like bundle up.
We may have winter, but we don't have hurricanes or earthquakes.
Oh God.
Yet.
Yeah,
you'll get all. Yeah, you guys will get all the tornadoes. You guys will get all the tornadoes up there.
Absolutely.
Also joining us is your co-host Thorsten.
Yeah, hello, and hopefully without any mishaps today.
Yeah, right. Also joining us is your co-host Jacob.
I live.
Yay! And finally, your co-host David.
No, I haven't read the books. No, I haven't seen the show, but winter is coming.
I stopped after season 1, after they killed Sean Bean. Spoiler, I know. But after they killed Sean Bean, I'm like...
After they killed Sean Bean, spoiler, really, Brian?
Sean Bean getting killed in a movie?
I know, right?
No!
Like when I was watching The Martian, I was like, how are they going to kill Sean Bean in this one? But they didn't. It was shocking.
Yeah, they just fired him. He got fired from NASA, and that's it. I mean, I guess his career died?
I hope not. I haven't seen him in anything since, though, come to think of it. But, I don't seek out new movies very often. So, friends, today we're going to talk about a topic that I thought up while playing, I gotta say it right, Stardeus the other day. I want to talk about the user interface and the user experience. Now, they're two separate things, but they're almost always talked about in the same breath because they pretty much go hand in hand. So first, we should define the two things so we're clear on what's going on. The user interface.
Yes, we're professionals. We start off by defining things.
Not usually, but I think in this case it's good to clarify the two things because they are separate, but they are also intertwined in a lot of ways. When we talk about the user interface, we talk about the buttons, the boxes, the clickable things, the clickable elements that you interact with to work with a game. And a good user interface has a lot of elements. But the user experience, the user interface is part of the overall user experience, which is the word experience is like the big thing. It's like the overall experience of using a product. And the UI is a big part of that, but it's more than just the UI. It's the speed. It's how does it load quickly? Does it have any bugs? Does it, have a good soundtrack? That sort of thing. So, a lot of things go into a good user experience. We're going to talk about that mostly through the focus of the UI. And what got me thinking about this is again Stardeus, because Stardeus has a very good UI and a very good user experience. So I wanted to talk about things that I feel make up a good user interface and a user experience, because I think that'll help move the conversation forward if we have that on the table. So I think things like, and I'm thinking games like Stardeus, like strategy games, like different types of games have different user interfaces, and I do want to talk about that too, but I'm thinking of like complex games like Stardeus, like Clanfolk, which is my example for maybe the best user interface and user experience I've ever encountered. I don't know if you recall, but when I first played Clan Folk, I cried because the UI and the UX is so fucking good. I literally cried. I had tears coming out of my eyes because, my God. So I think elements of a good user interface include not just, clear buttons, but I think a good user interface, and more people are including these things, but I think tooltips are a good part of a good user interface. I think a search function, I don't think that gets used enough, honestly. Like Stardeus has one, but I don't think enough games have search functionality within the game. And making search functionality, I know, isn't the easiest thing in the world, but once you know it's there, it makes the game so much easier to work with. Something I wish more games did is hyperlinks. Like with a lot of games that have help files, a lot of games that have tooltips and whatnot. Hyperlinks are also very important. I think a good example of this is, Old World. I believe in a lot of its tooltips also have hyperlinks that'll take you to other things. So hyperlinks have been around forever. Yet I don't feel like enough games, use them. So those
agreed. Honestly,
yeah. Hyperlinks I feel like are so basic, but not enough games have them as part of their help files or their tooltips, and I feel like it's probably a good amount of work to add. Wow, okay, the construction is getting heavy enough that I can feel it in the floor. That's how. Can you guys hear anything? Are we good?
I heard.
No, we hear you.
Rumbling, but
No, but do you hear any rumbling or loud noises behind me?
Not on my end.
Nothing
Okay,
at all.
good. Okay, I hope it doesn't get any louder, but it's weird. I can feel it in the floor. Anyway, it's so strange, especially when you live in earthquake country. Yeah, when you feel something in the floor, you're like, okay, I have to get up and run to a doorway. Anyway, so those are just some of the elements I feel any good UI should have. And again, I'm talking about mostly like strategy games and stuff. Other types of games have other UI elements that are important, but they don't need you don't need hyperlinks in a game like Free Space 2, for example. But maybe in the mission briefings or something, that'd be neat. But but I feel like the more complex a game you have, the better your UI should be, and the more ways of moving around your UI you should give to the player. That's why I think, again, Clan Folk, Stardeus do an amazing job of this. Do you guys have any elements of a good UI that I didn't mention that you can think of?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the deal: is I played X4 Foundations all the way through until I destroyed the human race and figured my job was done.
Can you do that for real? We didn't have a good run, so I think it's time to let the cockroaches rise. And
yes, in fact, in my second book, the first book goes to the editor today. Yay!
Congrats.
But Stephen Hawking postulated how the universe has an off switch, and given enough money, it can actually be done. So, and you want to know how it's done? Read the second book when it comes out. Anyway, so the deal is with X4 Foundations, it can be a hard game to learn sometimes, but they have before you get started, you might want to learn how to fly. Here's an actual flying school they have. But the best thing they have in their UI that every difficult game should have is, here's our Discord right up in front.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yes.
Here's our Discord. And when you go there, it's, if you're stuck, go here, ask your question. And I have never asked a question and not had it answered by the people who made this game or are experienced in anything less than an hour. And every game needs to have here's our Discord, or here's who you go to for questions. And
No,
the other
that
thing,
is a great point. That is really terrific. That's a really good one. Yeah.
the other thing that's similar, right?
Mhm.
And granted, it's not in the UI, but if you go to an NPC and said, "Hey, I'd like to learn this skill," the NPC will say, "It looks like you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're going to need to go to college." And Final Fantasy XIV has an actual in-game school for each discipline.
Right.
And for really difficult games, I think that is like a must.
Yeah, that leans more toward the experience side of things, but that's a very good thing to bring up. Yeah, it's a very good thing to bring up because that's one thing I wanted to talk about when we talked about more of the UX side of things is onboarding. Definitely wanted to talk about having good onboarding. But sticking back with UI for the moment, does anyone else have any other UI elements that that no one's mentioned that they want to bring up? If not, that's fine. If not, that's fine. We can move on. But I think what we've talked about so far is what makes up a good UI, because UI is basically the big gateway to a good user experience. And I think, kind of piggybacking on what Julie just said, I think one of the most important things about a good user experience is onboarding. Like back in the day, you'd get a box with a big manual and a keyboard overlay and I'm thinking of the F-19 box, which is, I think, one of the greatest computer game boxes ever made. You get a manual, you get maps, you get all this stuff, and you know, you're on the toilet and you're reading the manual, and then you're getting ready for the game, you know. But now they don't. I mean, some games do manuals, like Shadow Empire, that comes with like a 300+ page PDF manual, for example. But a lot of games rely on tutorials and whatnot to help onboard the player. So I think onboarding is a really very big, important part of the user experience, because if you're trying to play a game and you don't know what the hell you're doing, then you're not going to stick with that game. You know, if you don't click with we haven't gotten to accessibility yet, Virgil. We did a whole show on accessibility a while back. If you want to go to spacegamejunkie.com and try and find that one, we did a whole episode on accessibility, a year or two ago, I think.
2 years ago.
Actually. Yeah, I think it was about 2 years ago. I think it was one of the first episodes we did with this new crew. Well, newer crew, the 2.0 crew. I think it was one of the first episodes we did with this second crew. So yeah, we
invited one of my friends, Chris.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, we but we haven't talked about accessibility here yet. Accessibility, since you mentioned it, Virgil, is a huge part of. Oh, thank God, the machine outside stopped. Oh, all tense. Let's see. Yeah, accessibility is a huge part, whether it's having colors for colorblind people, you know, the right colors for colorblind people, being able to scale your UI for different resolutions, you know, that sort of thing. Being able, like, I got to do the technical, like, alpha weekend of Flight Simulator 2024 this past weekend. And it had so many accessibility options. Like, it would read all the menus to you. Like, you know, which is impressive. Like, it would read everything to you. So that was kind of cool. So, yeah, accessibility is a huge, I think, good part of having a good user experience. But I think one of the biggest things about having a good user experience, and the UI comes into this, is providing a proper flow. I think the best word I can use is flow, or toggle hold option, AC rate. That's a good one. That's a good one. But I think the UI and the UX have to work together to provide a proper flow in playing a game. Like, playing a game is basically doing a series of tasks. And like any task, you need a workflow, and having the right workflow through the UI and the UX is just incredible. When it's done right, it makes the game so much better. And when it's done poorly, you can't stop playing quickly enough. So, does anyone have anything else to add about the user experience before we move on? No? Okay. So I wanted to talk about I've
Good or
huh?
good or bad user experience.
Well, I did. Now that we've kind of defined what we're talking about, I wanted to go into that and talk about games that we feel provide a good UI and a good user experience. Information overload. Ooh, that's a very important thing. So I'll first talk about the game on the screen here, Clanfolk. This is a game, like kind of a RimWorld-y style game. It takes place in old Scotland, ancient Scotland. And it's one of these simulation games where you're building a society. And they have to forage and they have to build and blah. But these guys have done such a tremendous job of giving you the information you need and helping the player make the right decisions quickly and easily. For example, if you look on the screen, you'll see on the left side, that's where a lot of alerts pop up. And if you click on an alert, it guides the cursor directly to the user interface that you need to take care of that alert. Like it just moves the cursor exactly where you need to be, which is absolutely astounding. And you could dive into this UI if you want to. There are screens that are like very detailed and like what skills each person has and what jobs they should do and blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to dive into that if you don't want to, because the AI does a good enough job in handling that for the most part. But this game gives you I've rarely seen a smoother workflow in a game than this one, because the UI and the user experience just blend together so well that the tutorials are seamless. They're very well guided. They're very well written. User interface is clean and simple and effective, and it's consistent. Left click does a thing, right click gets you out of that thing every time. Just consistent, simple, easy. Maybe that's another thing we should have mentioned about accessibility is simplicity. That's another important thing. So this is the first when I thought of maybe the best example of a UI I've ever seen. Clanfolk came up number one because these guys, I don't know how they did it, but I think they have gotten one of the best user interfaces and user experiences I've ever encountered in any game. And I've played thousands of games. This might be tops for me. And that's saying a lot because I've played a lot of games, and I just can't get over how smooth and effortless it is. Like I'm not good at the big picture. I'm not good at playing games like this typically, but this game makes it efficient. It makes it not effortless, but it makes it, for me, I'm not going to say it makes it simple, but it makes it approachable. It makes it accessible for even an idiot like me. So, hey, Mazgram. So, I got to say, this is top of the top for me. Probably one of the best examples of a user interface and user experience in any game I've ever played is this one. So now that I've shared my first good example, you guys have, we'll start with one each. Julie, you said you had some. What would be your first example of a game with a good user interface? Oh God, I hope you guys can't hear that. Can you guys hear that?
A little bit.
Not really.
Good. Okay. Julie, do you have what's your first example of a game with a good UI and if also a user experience?
Julie?
Julie. Uh-oh.
I can see her lighting up, but I can't hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Technical difficulties. My example of a good one, I think I mentioned already, is Final Fantasy XIV. And the deal is we have a static group that's been going on for 3 years now. Not everybody has a Steve who's, he's not on the Discord here, but he's kind of an expert at the whole thing. And you can just say, Steve, we're stuck. I said, okay, go here, do this, do this, do this. But and with Final Fantasy XIV, the thing with this game is, if you have altitis like I do, you don't have a lot of times you end up having umpteen characters. But in this game, if you've ever played it before, you just start call it a new job, and you can say, hey, I'd like to be a tank, and I'd like to be a gunbreaker. And so the NPC might say, granted, it's not right there in the HUD, but the NPC will say, hey, have you done this before? If you've never done this before, maybe you should go to school. And they have an in-game school for this. And you go to a special place and you talk to the NPC, and they will guide you through all the basics of this particular job, this particular character class. And a lot of games just don't have anything like that, and I have a lot of games sitting on the virtual shelf unplayed ever again because of a lack of this. So more games should be like what they do with Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, I've also played quite a bit of Final Fantasy XIV, and they do a great job not only with onboarding, but like they give you a really easy way to move through the world, really easy way to find what to do next. And if you want to switch jobs, they, again, not make it easy, but they make it efficient. Having all that in-game help and the community. Let's not overlook the amazing community for that game. That's also, you could call that part of the user experience, I think, in this game, because
in more than one game, when my sister was playing the healer and I was playing the tank, and this goes back to WoW, in one case, they said, hey, you want to vote off the healer? And I said, I sure do. And the tank is leaving as well. See you later. Bye. Good luck getting another healer and tank. And yet I have never, even when I go into a dungeon blind, all you have to do is say, first time here, I've never had a bad experience with the community.
Yeah. After playing several MMOs over the years, I was shocked by how just friendly and helpful that community is. And I got to say,
Yes.
I think it's also a lot due to the moderators. I think they do a good job of weeding out toxicity, which apparently is several full-time jobs, but apparently they do a very good, very active job of weeding out toxicity in that game. So yeah, I guess for a game like that, the community is also part of the user experience. And that's an excellent example, because not only is the gameplay effective from UI and user experience example, but like the community just adds to that. So that's an excellent example.
Yes, I mean,
go ahead.
I did actually want to bring an example, speaking of community and user experience.
Huh?
This is tangentially related to also the game that inspired Clanfall, which is RimWorld, but there is an entire genre, I feel, of wiki games.
Yes.
Which is games that where you legitimately have to spend a decent chunk of time scouring the wiki in order to have even the faintest hope of understanding what's going on
Aurora
within a sensible time
Aurora
period.
4X, I'm looking at you mother, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, a lot of these games are games for insane people, present company included. But even then, it's nice to at least have that information available somewhere instead of having to do guesswork. I have mentioned on a previous podcast the game Vintage Story, which is a sort of Minecraft-inspired hardcore survival game, which decides, okay, I'm going to be a wiki game. I'm just going to put the wiki in the game.
Oh, hey, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
You look at a thing, press shift Shift H, and congratulations. Here's the wiki page on that thing.
Oh, that's great.
Kind of useful.
That's great.
Hey, hey, the game has an entire freaking system for like forging metals and such. How do I do that? How to forge in the handbook. Like, it's one button to open the handbook, and it has a search function. It's brilliant. I love it.
Ah, terrific. What's it called again?
Vintage Story.
Vintage Story. Do I know that one? Sounds like something I'm not sure.
Yes, because I already told you about it at the very least.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember it. Yeah. Is it on Steam?
No.
Oh.
I don't know if they're ever releasing it on Steam. If they are, then when it gets to full release, which it isn't at yet.
Oh, yeah. I recognize the site. You have showed me this before. Yeah, you have showed me this before. Yeah, I will.
Yes.
I don't think I will ever play this myself, but
I don't blame you. But the game does do its best to make things easy by, again, just having all the necessary information available to you. And similarly enough, when it comes to user experience, having information and statistics explained to you clearly,
yes,
is also nice. This is an issue I have actually with two games I played recently of a similar genre, Space Marine 2 and Helldivers, because they're games which tend to have a high difficulty curve, and also have a lot of equipment and a lot of statistics. And the game doesn't really tell you much. Like, it tells you that a gun, like for example in Helldivers, guns have light, medium, and heavy penetration. What does that mean? What things have light, medium, and heavy armor? It doesn't tell you. And turns out there's 5 levels of armor and not 3. And then there's other stuff. Or in Space Marine 2, guns have a firepower stat. The firepower stat doesn't tell you anything.
What?
It just roughly tells you how much damage a gun does, but a gun with firepower 7 can deal less damage per shot than a gun with firepower 9, purely because the gun with firepower 9 counts the rate of fire, except sometimes it doesn't, because that's a separate stat. And of course, they're all given in an arbitrary scale of 0 to 10 instead of actual damage numbers.
Don't they know we love damage numbers? Don't they know we love damage numbers? We want to see damage numbers. Don't they know we love that?
Yeah, it's the one thing Borderlands got universally
I was just thinking of Borderlands. Exactly. Like, you see those numbers. You see those numbers flying off something as you're shooting it. You're like, hey, that feels great. I like seeing that.
You see 6 digits coming off something you just shot
That's great.
Speaking of, EDF6 now have damage numbers.
Oh, does it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So yes, as a general rule, you do want to give, I dislike games that give arbitrary sliders or don't give any kind of hard statistics on weapons and equipment. I'm not an idiot. I know what 600 rounds per minute means on a weapon. You can just tell me the rounds per minute.
I mean, it's right there in the name. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. So Jacob, your example of a good UI would be this Vintage Story game.
User experience, because the user interface is fairly standard, but decent enough.
Right.
It does have some stuff that's a bit hidden all over the place, but the game is a work in progress. I'm not sure, I don't have any game that I recall the UI specifically being, exceptional.
That's fair. I think a lot of times if the UI is really good, you won't notice it.
That's kind of the issue. It's like CGI in films. You only notice it if it gets in the way.
Yeah, I think if it's really good, it'll be effortless and you won't notice. And that's good. You want it that way, really. And so that's fine.
Yes.
I didn't expect that.
That's why primarily notice other stuff which actually actively helps with the experience, not just general UI design. I understand stuff like clarity of information, not being Sins of a Solar Empire 2, picking one color for the UI.
Wait, what? I haven't played it yet. What happened?
For some reason, Sins of a Solar Empire 2, it's all blue. The user interface in that game is really good in terms of like tooltips and statistics and everything, but it's all blue.
Oh,
Blue.
It's just a single shade of blue. The icons are blue on a blue background.
That's not great. How do you single out anything? How do your eyes?
Very poorly.
Oh God, that's a bad user experience right there. I mean,
yes. Now it can be modded out because, of course, it can be. But yeah, no. Yes, it's the beautiful blue UI. To paraphrase former Prime Minister, whatever his name was.
God.
Boris Johnson.
Oh, okay.
So what you're saying, Jacob, that the complete opposite to a good UI design would be Cruelty Squad.
Okay, no, I just said that a problem is when you use a single color, and Cruelty Squad has the exact opposite problem.
I don't know if I've seen Cruelty Squad. I don't know.
Cruelty Squad is a game that is designed intentionally to be offensive to the eyes and the player as an artistic statement.
Oh God,
or maybe the human mind entirely.
Oh God,
It's an acid trip if you look at the game.
This is horrible.
Funnily enough, funnily enough, the UI in that game can get used to it, which is proving you can get used to anything if you try hard enough.
Just looking at just looking at the images, like, kind of makes my eyes.
Now imagine playing it.
Oh, you'd be terrified playing that game.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I love a good first-person shooter, but God, these colors.
It's not even a good game. It's a solid. It's sort of a solid Deus Ex like. It's an sim nominally.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just
I played
designed.
I played it about 10 hours. I haven't finished the game though.
It's just designed to be It's just designed to be as visually offensive as possible as some kind of artistic statement.
Yeah, this is really hard on the eyes. This is really, really hard on the eyes. My God.
Yeah. So yes. So you can have either one color or too many colors on the bad UI. Like you gotta find a middle ground there.
And somehow I own it. I don't know how I own it. Okay, wait. I just came across a screenshot where you have a sniper rifle, and the scope for the sniper rifle, the little lens of the sniper rifle scope is red, like bright fucking red. Why? That is so.
Yeah.
Why? That is.
And don't worry, the gameplay gets even worse. Do you know how you reload guns in that game?
No. How do you reload guns in that
game? I believe you press a button and then you pull your mouse down.
What?
And then pull it back up.
No. That sounds egregiously annoying. And yet this game has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam.
Because it is front and center. Because it is front and center with what it wants to be. Like it's not pretending it isn't offensive in every possible way.
You know what? Good on them. Like they know what they were going for. They
have a target audience. The target audience is sickos.
You got to appreciate when someone makes a big swing and they hit. You know what I mean? You got to appreciate when they take a big swing, and that's exactly what this looks like—a really big swing into the absurd. Like, you know what this reminds me of from a looks perspective? Did you guys ever play the game Vangers?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Wasn't it like a car game?
It's a top-down, crazy-ass car game in a crazy-ass open world. Very colorful.
I know exactly what game you mean, and it's the same flavor of insane. Yes.
Yeah. This reminds me of like a first-person. I don't know if it's Vangers or Vangers, but that's also on Steam, by the way, folks. And if you haven't played it, it's actually a really great game. It's hard to get into.
We are now.
It's hard to get into.
3 diversions deep.
Fine. Whatever.
But also, yes, welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast.
Yeah. Vangers is a terrific game that you all should play. It's really actually a terrific game, like legitimately. I've never finished it.
If you can get it to work, it's fiddly.
And a little fiddly. The Steam version actually runs pretty well.
Right. I tried playing it when it didn't have one.
Oh, no. It's on Steam now, and it's actually getting updates. Like, it got an update a few months ago. Like, it's still getting updates. Yep. It's a 25-year-old game, And it's still getting updates. So good on them for that. But yeah, that game it's Russian. So I think that's really all I need to say. Cruelty Squad looks very...
Yes, so as we've established, for a good UI, you need a medium number of colors.
Yeah, for things to pop out into your eyes. So, like, this is an important thing. This should be red. You know, I should look at this immediately. That kind of thing.
Yes, have some modicum of contrast and not blue.
I mean, blue is my favorite color, but it doesn't always work on everything. You know,
you need some variety.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want everything blue. Anyway, Thorsten, do you have an example of a game with a good user interface and/or user experience?
Honestly, I can't come up with one.
That's fine. Good.
There are a lot. What I really like is the simplicity of Afghanistan 11, for example, or Vietnam 65.
I've not played those. I hear they're really good, though.
I have, and they are very good.
They have a new one out, Angola 86, right?
86, yes, which is a bit complexer, but especially with Vietnam 65, I love simplicity of the game, really, because the topic is quite complicated, but still, the playability is pretty good and easy. It's easy to grasp.
I actually own the Vietnam one, but I haven't played it. I should fix that. They're doing an Irish one during the Troubles where you play the British.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. Yeah. You know what? I'm okay with that if they have DLC that also lets you play as the Irish. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, look, it's not like they're shying away from controversy. Let's be honest here.
I know. I love that they're approaching. They're like, I don't think there are any computer games that deal with the Troubles, like, or very few. I don't know of any.
Couldn't tell you either.
Yeah, I don't know of any.
It's a very complex topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, they also have an upcoming Rhodesia 72. Oh, bugger.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one either.
Buddy, that is two different nests of hornets you're sticking your fists into. Most people give up after the first one.
And you know what? I gotta give him credit for going for it. That's some big swings right there. And I mean, it's working for him because how many this is Angola's their third game, I think, right? Oh no, that's like.
Oh no! There were 5 or 6
from the series, like the series, like
from this particular series. Let's see.
Yes, because they've had some other ones.
Yeah,
but the series Angola is going to be number 3.
Yeah, so we have,
and
Vietnam.
Then we have a sequel to Vietnam, Rhodesia 72, and Northern Ireland 74, which are all going to be delightful.
Yeah. I should play Vietnam 65. It looks like my kind of jam. It looks like something.
I mean, fundamentally, it's a sort of single-player version of like counterinsurgency games or coin games, which have been immensely popular for like 50 years now.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so this has a good. This one is simple to play. You would say, Thorsten, Vietnam 65.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to grasp and it's very complex. To be honest, you have to adapt. In contrast to some other strategy games.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I keep forgetting that I own it. So like I have to reinstall it. It looks really interesting. But yeah, like we said earlier, you can totally miss a good UI because it's so good you didn't notice it. So I'm not surprised you don't have. I mean, it's fine if you don't have one to think of because. I mean, that's totally fine. David, do you have an example of a good one that you can think of? If you don't, that's fine. But if you do, that's fine too.
Well, I have more bad examples than good examples.
Okay.
But I think I may have...
Not surprisingly.
Yeah. But I do have at least a small piece of Satisfactory I can share, since we're talking about hyperlink text and stuff.
Satisfactory.
So,
yeah,
the base building game.
I
mentioned Factorio game. So
I watched the trailer for that and my brain melted. It's clearly not a game for me.
I got a message from my cousin yesterday. He completed the campaign, so yeah.
Oh my God!
I can uninstall the game now. So yeah, okay, it's no use to join the server now.
Wow!
Oh God!
Good job.
So yeah, so he finished the game. So that game actually had something that I really like in the game, and that's first of all, if you press the O key in the game, you get the codex search bar. Well, that's short for O. So if you press O, you can enter something like iron. And then you get everything that's iron ingot.
Nice.
But there's another function hidden inside with this little search bar that's opening up here. It's also a calculator.
Oh.
So with Satisfactory, you have to satisfy all factors are working at maximum efficiency. So if you know that something is building 10 units and this conveyor belt can transport 20 units per second or something like that, then you know you need to produce this
Yes,
much.
it has.
Yeah.
It has the thing that Factorio doesn't, a ratio calculator. So like the ratio of how many production facilities for X do you need to produce X, Y, and without having like leftover and so on and so forth. Factorio is designed for madmen. So it expects you to do all that manually.
Yep.
I have, but also...
yeah, go ahead.
Now, I play with Factorio. I'm not going to say I'm good at it, because no one is, but I did enjoy it, with a caveat of it took a lot of wiki searching and a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
So I apparently own Satisfactory. I don't know how. But I'm going to load it up just so I can try this. That's the search bar.
Be sure to activate arachnophobia mode.
Oh, shit. But
there is an actual arachnophobia mode in the game. So
I was going to say, they have an arachnophobia mode. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because the one who modeled those freaking spiders that are in the game, Jacob, how would you I don't know how to describe those spiders, but those spiders are looking so evil, so it's kind of ridiculous in a way. I kind of chuckle when I see them. I know I should be scared to death, but they're so ridiculously over-designed, so yeah. Activate that mode, and don't look back.
Good to know, but I want to try this. I'm only going to load it up to try this search. I don't think I'll actually, because I'm looking at these screenshots. It's like, oh no. But yeah, I want to try that search function thing you talked about, because I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. So
okay, I've just checked arachnophobia mode on, just replaces them with pictures of cats.
Yep.
Hey, that's perfect for me. That's perfect for me.
And how do the spiders actually do? Oh, Jesus.
You forgot how the spiders looked like?
I never played Satisfactory. I forgot how the spiders looked like, and goodness grief. Okay, no point taken.
So don't send any spider pictures for Brian here. Just, enable the arachnophobia mode and just leave it on.
That's good to know. That is very good to know. That is really good to know. Thank you. I guess another good part of a good user experience is an arachnophobia mode for someone like me. Like that.
It falls under accessibility.
Yeah, that Grounded game also has a very good arachnophobia mode. It turns the spiders.
Which we can talk about accessibility, except we already had an entire podcast about that. So,
True.
Yeah, that's fair.
True.
But yeah, search bar all in all is very nice. I mean, even Shadows Doubt has that as well, which is very nice to have, which will come in handy sooner or later. I should probably try to finish my round in that game, by the way.
That's actually a great example you are doing right now.
With a search bar?
Yeah, Shadows of Doubt, I mean, because that has a surprisingly good UI and UX from what I've seen.
Which game?
Yeah, don't think about it.
Shadows of Doubt.
Extremely good point there.
Oh, Shadows of Doubt. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Though that game broke my brain too. My brain can only handle so many things connecting together before I start shutting down.
I don't blame you.
So, because of my ADHD. So I started playing Shadow of Doubt for a bit, and then I was like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. So before we move into the bad ones, I wanted to throw out one kind of side good one, like because the user interface on this game is complicated as fuck. Free Space 2, but it provides a user experience that is still unmatched today in space dogfighting games. Like just the escort list alone in Free Space 2 is like no other dogfighting game has had a thing like that. Like, why not? It's the most beautiful thing, and no other game. I don't understand, but I just wanted to mention Free Space 2 because I still think it's got the best. Like, it's got so many keys. Like, if you want to target your target, you can do that in Free Space 2. Fine, it's crazy, but so it's not the easiest. It's not the least complicated, user experience, but it does so much right that still hasn't been copied 25 years later. Anyway, so I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's wrap up with bad ones. So I know I always shit on this game. Excuse my language. I always shit on it. But when the first game I thought of a bad UI and a bad UX is Kinetic Void. I know I always shit on that game. But goddamn,
this podcast is probably the only people on Earth that still remember that thing.
You know what? I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what's worse, being forgettable or being so bad that you can't forget something. A game, you know what I mean?
I couldn't tell you either, but either case, like the game is definitely one of the two, possibly both.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like that game wants you to build a ship, but the shipbuilder is just horribly obtuse, very finicky. Like it's almost like if you miss by a pixel, you fucked everything up. Excuse my language. It is a terrible. It's not just a bad game, but just playing the game is a chore. And you don't want a game to be a chore. You don't want a game to feel like work. You know, that's the opposite of what you want in a game.
We've lost the EVE Online players.
You know what? The UI for EVE is not bad. For all the crap you got to do in that game, the UI is not bad.
EVE Online does, in fact, do its relative best with onboarding. It's just you're trying to onboard people into ANCAP hell.
However, keep in mind, I played that game for 6 years, and it changed at one point, and a lot. And here's what my sister wanted to point out. She tried it before it changed, and they had a new user experience. And her comment is simply, I've already got a college degree. And because of crap like that, that's why they changed and added a new user experience.
Even with that, that's what got me out of EVE Online, is I was playing it for a while. I'm like, okay, flying around space, la, la, la. I'm like, okay, wait, I have a job. I already have a job. I don't need a second job. And that's what this feels like.
Plus, the community is extremely toxic.
Oh, terrible. Terrible community.
That game brings out the worst in people.
I have a question for you. I have a random question for you guys. Who would you rather spend a bunch of time with? Like, who's worse? Star Wars fans or EVE Online players? I can't decide. Because they're both terrible.
Online, and here's what I would rather. EVE Online is the worst, and here's why. Here's real world.
So you'd rather spend time with Star Wars fans over EVE Online? Okay, why?
When I played EVE Online, there was some asshole, and if you're listening, you're an asshole, who started Hulk again. And it was ostensibly to get rid of the bots, but that's not what it was.
Oh, it's that whole story.
It was a group of people who decided to go out and grief people who had just wanted to mine, industrialists like myself. And I said on the other podcast, saying this is for the good of the game is like Adolf Hitler invading Poland, and it's like for the good of the Polish people. I said it is so much bullshit. And immediately there was like YouTube videos of me as Adolf Hitler on YouTube. And I said, I still stand by my statement. You are hurting this game. And that's why I would rather spend time with anybody doing anything other than the EVE Online community.
And I always wonder if, like, imagine an in-game newspaper like the New York Times. Is Hulk getting a bad thing? Trying to both sides that shit. God. Anyway. Sorry, that's way out of left field. I apologize. So
regardless.
Anyway, yeah. So EVE Online is, and I
do agree with Julie on the principle of that. Star Wars players are horrible. Star Wars fans are usually horrible, but they typically don't intentionally go out of their way to make other people miserable.
Well, I don't know. Remember the actress who played Rose in The Last Jedi?
I say typically, compared to EVE Online players who consider that priority one.
Okay.
We are really dealing with razor thin margins here, but I still think EVE players are marginally worse.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. So anyway, Julie, was EVE Online your game that provides a bad user experience?
No, I have one.
Okay.
And I know I'll have to defend it, but let me put it this way, and there's going to be a lot of people see you don't know what you're talking about. That's Total War Warhammer. And here's why. People have said to me, "Oh, you need to know how to play Total War to start with." I said, "No, this isn't the point."
Wait. You're talking Total War Warhammer? Is that what you're talking?
Warhammer, yes.
Okay.
Right. And I said, if you've played Total War, they're not trying to bring in other Total War players. They're trying to bring in people like me who are dyed-in-the-wool Warhammer fans. And even though there are hints, I've got 2 master's degrees, and I couldn't come close to understand what the hell is going on with this game.
Oh, God, it's so fiddly. It's so fiddly.
I tried, and I set it on the virtual shelf, and I said, this is bullshit, forget it. It's one of these things I really, really, really want to like because I love Warhammer.
You want to know the worst part, Julie? The historicals are dramatically easy to get into. That's the part that baffles me. Having played every historical Total War since Rome 1, the historicals are easier to get into than Total War Warhammer.
Yeah, I mean, don't people
by an order of magnitude?
Don't people consider? I think people consider Medieval 2 and Shogun to be the best Total Wars. If I
Shogun 2 to be exact.
Shogun 2,
the name I may or may not have yoinked my username from, so there's a bias there.
They were trying to pull in Warhammer fans with this, not Total War fans. And I have said it before in many podcasts, I will say it again. Good marketing is about making your product meet the needs of the consumer, not the other way around. It's like EVE Online. If I have to get out and do research and get another college degree to learn how to play this game, there is something wrong with the onboarding of this game. Mm-hmm. And I mean, seriously.
I have to agree. I've tried playing both Total War Warhammer. It's hard not to say just Total Warhammer.
It's what most people call them.
Yeah. I've tried to play both of those games, and I've bounced off both of them. And I love Warhammer video games. Like, I played all the SSI games back in the day. I play all the Slytherin ones that they make. I love Total War. I mean, I love Warhammer video games. But that one, yeah, it's just too fiddly. It's like, you didn't move your army right to the exact place. You're fucked. It's like, what? Wait, huh?
Yeah, and a lot of that is mechanics creep because historical Total Wars are just one thing.
Yeah.
Rather than basically every single faction in that game is playing a separate game.
Also, a real quick one. Driftlands just came out. If you're going to have a demo, at least have a button somewhere that tells how to play the game.
Oh.
That's handy.
It doesn't have that?
Nowhere.
Driftlands? What?
Driftlands, that's a game that just came out on Switch. There's no button anywhere that.
Oh, on Switch.
Yeah.
Well, you would think that you think of it with a game on a platform like the Switch, which has fewer buttons. I mean, it's got a touchscreen, I know, but you need good onboarding on a platform like that, especially since
tells how to play the game.
Yeah, especially since your player base probably skews a little younger for that one. for the most part.
Which is weird because I played the game on the PC and it had a solid enough tutorial and everything.
Apparently not.
I loaded the demo. I pressed every button in every order I could find, and I only downloaded the demo because I liked the art style. Is all.
It does look neat.
Somewhat inclined towards saying that's a demo problem.
Yeah,
It does sound like
a buggy demo more than anything else.
Could very well be.
Yeah, that's a shame. Does anyone else have a game that's an example of a bad UI or user experience that they want to bring up?
I have one.
Go ahead, David.
But I would like to first ask everybody else if no one else has another example.
I mean, that's fine.
Done.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Take a deep breath.
Buckle up, everybody.
Here comes
Our citizen.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Oh no! Bingo! Wait, do we have bingo yet? Wait, we haven't mentioned. We haven't mentioned Elite Dangerous. We haven't mentioned Elite Dangerous, so I don't think we have bingo yet.
Yeah, because actually that game has a pretty solid UI, and I do like it in there. But everything else,
we're talking separate from the actual gameplay. We're not talking about the actual gameplay.
Yes, there's a different topic of conversation. Star Citizen, though. What about it?
Yeah, please.
What is it this time?
I am wrapped. I am ready. I am ready. Go.
All right. First person items. I hate them. Oh God, I hate them.
I'm sorry. First person what?
First person items. Let's say personal armor, weapons, handguns, medical pens, all that stuff that you need on your person to stay alive. Star Citizen has decided to make it a life sim of sort with survival mechanics, so you can die by hydration and all this stuff. So as soon as you leave your spaceport, you need to make sure you are fully stacked up with goods and ready to go.
Oh no, I never wanted that. I never wanted that. I just wanted a Freelancer sequel. That's all I wanted was a sequel to fucking Anyway, sorry. Please go ahead, David.
Yeah.
Jesus!
And mind you, not all stations or bases may actually sell any supplies that you need.
Are you fucking kidding me? So I might have to go to station. If I land at Station A and they don't fucking sell granola bars, I have to fucking go to Station B to buy fucking granola bars? Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely.
Jesus fuck.
We might have to extend the podcast slightly if we keep this up.
God, son of a...
And I feel like we are.
I have more. It's fine. I can just shove more here.
Okay, I'm all right.
Daniel,
it's not like they made it complicated enough. Anyway, sorry, please.
Okay, so yeah, let's say that you have found a personal favorite set of armor items, because in this game you have either enviro suits or you have armor pieces they snap together. So you have,
I'm going to ask you
armor, and then a helmet.
I'm going to ask you a question. Does this stuff like degrade? Does it like, do you need to repair it? That kind of shit? Does it like...
I'm going to do that again. I'm going to gather some energy here and take a deep breath.
Oh no. Don't tell us that's a yes.
Oh no.
Not yet.
Understood.
It will be.
So it's already planned, right? Keep talking, David, because we haven't even gone to the main point.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was talking about armor. Let's say we find our 5 different pieces of armor. Like, I like that undersuit. I want that chest piece. I want that helmet. I want those armor for my arms. I want that backpack. Let's say you die. You have an accident out in deep space. You find something to crash into. You get shot or something. You lose your life. Then you'll respawn in a medical facility somewhere where you're lost in a medical gown without your armor. So at that point, you will get a corpse marker, so you can, like in Dark Souls or in
I don't like where this is going. I do not like where this is going.
Like in World of Warcraft or Dark Souls, where
you have a corpse.
Back to your corpse.
Yeah, gotta get.
So, you have to pick your armor back up like it's Minecraft.
Yes.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. So, you had to go back to your corpse and get it. And here's another problem.
Well, there's
many problems with Star Citizen. So, let's say you die on a planet. You accidentally crash into a rock when you're going through planetfall or whatever. You turn into a comet and crash into the ground. Then there's a chance that your corpse may actually glitch below the ground and sink to the planet's core. So even when you get back to the same position where your corpse marker is, your corpse is long gone into the center of the planet, making it impossible to recover your goods that you had on your person. So let's say you had picked up those 5 different armor pieces that are coming from different stores around the stand that we can now live in. Well,
because of course they're not all available everywhere. So to get all the stuff you want, you need to like scour the entire Karking galaxy.
Yep.
Which would be fine if you got to keep them.
Yeah.
If it was like a one-time thing.
I mean,
mind you, do you remember this? That they had this whole thing that your ship is insured, so if it gets blown up, you can get it back. Yeah. What about my freaking armor though? My spacesuit and stuff. I would like to have my previous loadout back. Can I get it back? No, you will not get your loadout back.
I mean,
so you can't insure a suit of. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Now, to be fair, if I may interject, Jumpgate had something similar to this. When you blew up, you got a basic version of the ship you flew without any custom equipment, and some custom equipment was only available at certain stations, but it was always known where those things were, so it wasn't that hard to re-get everything. And the universe isn't that big, so it was never that much of a chore. But this was 20 years ago.
And also EVE Online that tries to do the same thing with its ships, and...
So I have another example when it comes to inventory management, for a person. Since they're aiming for having something called engineering, you're allowed to repair modules on your ships and stuff. So you need to have a special tool for it. This tool is already available in the game. So
okay,
where do you find it? How do I find it? So that also kind of this very thing I'm gonna talk about here is a thing that I would like to point to Elite Dangerous as well, and that's shopping. In the far future, imagine having some kind of catalog to open up that tells you where stuff is or something, getting a clue where stuff is if you want to pick something up. So let's say you want to do hand salvage, which will in the future be the repair tool. It's going to have 2 uses. You can either take things apart or repair stuff. So you want to grab that item. You also need to have magazines for it. Where the heck do you find it?
What?
Oh, you find it at a ship module shop, or you find it at how can I describe, like a salvaging shop.
Okay.
Yeah, where do I find those?
So far, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a but there, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, I suppose. So let's say I start out I'm just gonna say take out the name so it doesn't confuse even more. So let's say I start on a snow planet. The snow planet has a city. This city has a module shop for ship equipment and stuff. But if you're a new player, you shouldn't probably already know that, and that it actually sells that stuff. So when you spawn in, you'll go to the little kiosk that is outside your apartment, and look at that. They'll sell some low tier armor, some guns and stuff. So it can get you going a little bit. There's probably even med pens you can pick up there, but no salvaging equipment. So how do you even figure that out? That you need to visit the module shop for ship equipment that you can buy the scraping tool over there and get started with your scraping career. It doesn't even pay for all the amount of work that goes into it. Okay. I may have some personal...
I feel like doing one to at some point, probably next year, just do a roast Star Citizen for an hour stream.
I think
because I feel like we need it at this point.
Yeah, it's been. I think we done one yet. If we haven't, it's about time. No, we did.
We've done an airing of grievances, but we haven't done a dedicated Star Citizen roasting stream. And the thing is, next year that game is supposed to come out due to legal obligations that Cloud Imperium has to the British government.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Yes, because of legal obligations to the British government and stuff like Kickstarter stuff and so on, they are required to put out a game by 2025.
So
that is
it's not going to fucking happen.
That is why they're like crunching their developers and have been recently, because they have to legally put out the game by the end of the year, else the entire country of the United Kingdom of North Ireland and Great Britain will demand financial and legal compensation.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
No one, I don't think anyone, including Cloud Imperium themselves, knows what's actually going to happen. But I am awaiting the spectacle.
Oh yes, please.
It is
please.
worth to see this train wreck.
I can't wait to watch this train wreck because they're not ready. But I mean, they're building it on the I mean, they want people to work 7 days a week, but they're building it on the Crisis engine still.
Yes, they're still building it on. I couldn't tell you.
Or an offshoot of it or something. No, it's
like basically either they're gonna pull Squadron 42 out of their ass after having nothing, which is unlikely.
No, it'll be like the product will be Squadron 42 1.0, and it'll be like 10 missions. It'll be like 10 missions.
Oh goodness.
And then and then wait for 2.0, which has the next 10 missions. So they'll release the bare
they'll
minimum.
make it episodic.
Yeah, they'll release the bare minimum of a product. That's what they were going to do with Prophecy. The gold edition that the special ops thing, that was supposed to be episodic, but it didn't work out. So
what we've gathered from here is don't let Chris Roberts make games.
No,
and we're saying this as fans of games like Wing Commander Privateer.
Or let him make games, but don't surround him with sycophants who will just say yes to whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, the man needs publishers. As much as we hate those, they're apparently sometimes necessary, and it's to put some shackles on maniacs like him.
I mean, that's why Microsoft booted him off Freelancer, because Freelancer was like 3 years late,
and it still was unfinished. Let's be honest here, Freelancer was super unfinished.
Yeah, it was so pared down from what we saw in '99, so pared down, and it's God.
At least there is someone somewhere that is taking him to task for his lack of fiduciary oversight.
Yeah, no, I'm very glad about that.
And that's of all places, the unlikely saviors, Britain.
Great Britain, of all people, like, I'm kind of shocked by that. I would have thought it would be the EU, or something like that. But
No, apparently it's specifically UK. Because here's the thing: this is Britain. They have basically invented capitalism as a concept. Like, they know how to hold companies to promises and responsibilities.
That's true. Yeah, God.
That's the one thing they're sort of good at
anymore. Yeah. No, I mean,
I have two more short stories if you would indulge me from Star Citizen.
Already over time.
That's
all right.
If they're short. Do you guys want to go? Is that it? I know it's late for you guys.
I'm fine with listening for a bit, but let's not drag it out too much.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, David.
Okay, first, bunker missions. Once upon a time, they had friendly markers for friendly NPCs in those. Now, enemies can spawn outside the bunkers. I've heard from the Star Citizen community. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So enemies can actually appear outside a bunker instead. Cool. Okay, let's go down there. Okay, bunker mission. Let's go. There's someone out there in this cloudy, foggy weather. Let's tap in on the head. Bam! That was a civilian. Sorry, crime stat free. You're a criminal now, David. Go to jail.
What?
Whoops.
Yeah, exactly. Whoops. Dove the poor civilian in the head. That was not what I was expecting. So, yeah. Another short story where we come to user experience when things fail. So I have loaded up my freelancer Max with mined goods that I have refined in the refinery, which takes real time, about 10 hours or so.
What?
Because of course it does.
So I was thinking, yeah, let's sell this thing. It's time to earn some monies. Oh, yeah. So I loaded onto the ship via the terminal because for some reason, while they did the cargo update, they didn't update the refinery. So, yeah, you can only autoload the ship with the refined goods. So they will be teleported onto your ship automatically. All right, so let's call up the Freelancer Max. And it comes up out of the ground, sideways, half sunken into the elevator. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was about probably 7. Well, I haven't been taking that time for refinement into account. So it was probably 13 hours of work that just bugged out in front of my eyes. I would not be able to save unless divine intervention. So yeah, that felt good. Like watching that. Oh yeah. So yeah, Star Citizen. They'll have a con this Friday, I think.
No, they've been doing a con for a long time, David.
Yeah,
they've been doing a con for a very long time.
They will talk about 1.0 this con.
They will.
Game Star Citizen really is, and it took them 12 years to give us those news. Yeah.
The jokes write themselves, ladies and gentlemen. The jokes write themselves.
Wow. A child born when the a child born when the Star Citizen campaign concluded, only a few years away from being able to drive, and a few years away from able to vote. So, my God,
I was in like fucking primary school, I think, when that campaign finished, and now I'm here on my 3rd attempt at university.
How's a question mark?
Yeah. No, there's no huzzah.
I have.
There's no huzzah.
I have screwed up horribly and gotten back on my feet twice in the time it took the Star Citizen to figure out what game it is.
And I can't wait to see what they say. Anyway, folks, that's a good note to end on. I think we've got. Oh my God, that was a fun show. So next week we're going to talk about exploration. I think we haven't had a show about it. We've talked about it tangentially through talking about other games, but we've never talked about exploration itself. So we'll talk about like what makes good exploration, games that are good at it, that sort of thing. That'll be fun. And tomorrow it's Thursday, so it's back to Euro Truck Sim 2. Very excited about that. So thanks, chat. Great chat today. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for hanging out with us. Be safe, be well, take care of each other. Please get vaccinated if you haven't already. I can't believe I need to keep saying this. But there's still a pandemic going on, so please get your shots, wear your masks. Thank you to our patrons who help pay for things like Restream, which is not cheap. And don't forget to wear your helmet.